Here on Anime Off Live for our first ever live review of One Piece chapter 1050, my best part of this chapter, stuff like that. And yeah, that's basically how the stream is going to run for today. So yeah, we're just basically gonna get right through it because there's a lot that happens in this chapter. So this chapter is entitled New Age. We do get some stuff for Film Red, as you can see right there. But let's get right into the chapter. It opens up where we left off with the scabbards and everyone fighting the admiral. You could see Momo telling Yamato to stay away because he wants to fight. You can see that Ryukyuku has upper hand. It seems right now he has upper hand. Rizel uses a fire attack, but to no avail because Ryukyuku has a move called Fireproof Force, and the fire really didn't affect him. And now Rizel's been caught up in his thing. Then we just see the other scabbards getting involved, trying to stop him. To no avail too, because they get caught up. And then we're at the castle basement in the secret room, and you can see that Law is now with Robin and everyone else because he traced them because he knew they were missing because they weren't with the other straw hats and everything. So he was out looking for them and he found them. He found them in no time because of All Star Jack. And they question like how would a fisherman be a help? And he says you'll understand once you see it. And it says it goes a few hundred years deep, and then they're like, "What? What is he talking about?" And then they go down here, they see this light. That's where the light's coming from, or something like that. And then he says we should already be below sea level, and that's where they get shocked, like how we below sea level. And then they see this, like apparently there was another Wano that existed like a long time ago. Like this is a crazy part of the chapter, and I don't know how where the walls came from, where they originated, but somehow they closed, and this original Wano just went down with it, and out came the other Wano that's on like it's on like tilted towards Mount Fuji or something. It's on Mount Fuji or something like that, and the original Wano is like below it. And then here they have the finding of the world Panaglyph. They only need one more to travel to Laptel, so this is like the final arc stuff. I do think we're gonna have like one, maybe two more arcs, more mini arcs before we get to like maybe one, two arcs consisting of some chapters. Then we'll be at the final arc, which is gonna be lasting us a while, which is really good because then it has time to plan out everything. And it said that if you go further, you could find Pluton. So Pluton is like below even that. But in order to activate it, you would have to take down the walls of Wanda, which would have like catastrophic effects. You have to think because opening up the wall, like weapon would be released, and we don't know what Pluton. I think we do know what Pluton can do. It would have like destructive effects if it was like turned on or and released. And you can see them questioning like, why would Odin do that? And Sukiyaki's like, I really don't know because we don't know what he found out during his voyages with the Pirate King and stuff like that. Then we're coming back to the flower capital where we're continuing the fight with Ryukyugu and everyone. It says no man can hope to stand against the forces of nature alone. And he says if Kaido was still in charge, he wouldn't have come here. So I think he thinks the way Kaido was running Wano was the right way to run Wano, and that had he still been in charge, reason to be there and stuff like that. And he's like, just bring me Luffy already, and I'll take I'll leave after I take his head. And then Yamato's like, let's call Luffy. Momo's like voting against it because he does not want to have to depend on Luffy and the Straw Hats every single time for help. Like, he wants to save Wano himself. He wants to fight this battle himself and stop relying on help. And then you see here, he finally learns how to hit the bolo best correctly. He just lands like a whole barrage of them at Ryokugu. And you can see he's burning, but that really doesn't stop him because there you can see the plant is up there and out emerges himself in there or something like that. I'm guessing this is like one of his abilities. And then yeah, he's back. But just as he's getting ready to do something else, you can see the Haki flowing through right here, and it affects him. And he says like, who's that? And then we see all the way from his ship, Shanks just released Haki towards Admiral Ryuki, which is crazy. Like, his Haki from all the way is super strong, and it's gonna be cool to see if we could get one, maybe two fights with Shanks in the final arc, saga, and stuff like that. But like, it's crazy that he hit it from all the way from his ship. You can see that Ryuki was in pain. I don't think we've ever seen Haki that he cause like physical pain. Maybe he's just paralyzed. That's why he's like in pain and stuff like that. But you can see Shanks says, "I won't call you Marines cowardly or underhanded for this," but like he's like, when they've exhausted from making pirate history, you're trying to attack them, and he says, "Does the new era make frighten you that much?" And you can see he's like really mad because he is not about it. Like, he does not want this to happen, and he's like, new age happen and stuff like that. So, and that forces like Ryoku to like back off, which is like, that's crazy. Like, the length, the distance that Shanks can do Haki is like crazy. And you have to think he's like a master at it at this point. Like, he's had like years training with it, stuff like that. Like, you have to think he's a master and stuff like that at Haki and stuff. And then we have Luffy and others saying he's gone, and they didn't lend a hand after us. So they were probably watching it with their observation Haki. Like, if Momo and others couldn't hold off like Ryukyu's in, they were actually gonna help. But they did hold off Ryukyu's, so they didn't need any help. And then you can see Luffy saying, "A familiar face just popped into my head." But overall, this chapter is like perfect. There was like so much Roger Pirate King himself and Luffy as well. Like, they're probably like the top 3 Haki users in the whole series, like past and present. But this chapter was just perfect. Like, it had everything. It was just like, it explored so many possibilities, like for the final arc and stuff like that. Like, this chapter, watch and see what's gonna happen next and stuff like that in the story. But like, we're in like the final saga. Like, eventually Wano. Yeah, this is like a little quick live stream giving my review. We will be live back in about like 10-15 minutes with a game, like a GBA game. But I just wanted to give my quick review on this chapter. But until then, guys, I'll see you guys